Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 is around the corner. 2022, you're looking at Republicans expanding their congressional lead. We'll get to that. Latest Rasmussen poll. Hit subscribe to this channel. Jamel, hello. Susan, hello. Jerry, Dazed, everybody here. Eric, H526, hello. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and for watching this live stream. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do these live streams without your super chat support. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much. If you want to talk about Congress, midterms, everybody, Hunter, them going after Trump for infinitely less than what happened with Madam Secretary, is siphoning classified data and top secret intel onto servers outside of the United States government. Recession we're in. The fact that our beloved president, mashed potato brains, has pumped 160 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserve into this country since March, knowing very well that midterms would be around the corner, and knowing that his policies were horrible, his energy policies were absolutely catastrophic. Then they go after Herschel Walker for being a hypocrite. They say, oh, he's a hypocrite. Well, there's no greater hypocrites than the Democratic Party. They opened up, released 180 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves while begging other countries in OPEC and getting a certain finger leveled at them because OPEC cut 2 million barrels of oil per day. They're cutting production. I don't know if there's a Green New Deal plan that shows you're supposed to release 180 million barrels. So if they want to save the planet, if there's an actual emergency pertaining to the climate, okay, why would they pump 180 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves into the country? Tell me that, ladies and gentlemen. And they go after Herschel Walker. We'll get to the smear piece in a second. It has really nothing to do. The senator there is not really going. The Senate is not going to do anything regarding Dobbs or Roe. Nothing. So if you're in Georgia and you vote for Warnock, you are voting for a Democrat and you're voting for recession. So when the recession gets worse because they flood strategic petroleum reserves while at the same time pontificating against oil and gas, just don't complain. Anatya, starting it off. Anatya, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your support always and for your super chat. Thank you very, very much. Anatya, thank you. So I want to read you this. Anatya, everybody here, Republicans expand congressional lead to 4 points. The fact that it's not 14 points is it's astonishing. It's astonishing that it's not 14 points, but that's when you have, that's basically, Democrats have every conceivable advantage from Jimmy Kimmel to late night to the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, all of Hollywood, social media algorithms. So it's like, you're basically, there has to be a campaign finance violation. There's someplace you can't coordinate. Your producers for late night talk show or editors for the Washington Post or New York Times can't coordinate or even email in any way anyone within the Democratic Party, a senator. They can't just go ahead and coordinate a message all at once. I mean, you have the same article at Rolling Stone that you do at CNN and Vanity Fair, Esquire. You have the same article all the time. Trump bad, Democrats good, Biden is just fine. It's the same article. Anatya, thank you again. Indy, hello. Eric, everybody here, Touch, everybody here, the Yahtzee. Freedom Falcon, hello. So the 2022 midterms are now 32 days away, and Republicans have a 4-point lead in their bid to recapture control of the House. The raid on Mar-a-Lago gave them a boost. It gave Republicans a boost, but a different type of boost. Democrats felt that um, Trump was knocked out of 2024 and that he was going to go to prison and that their political party was winning somehow. So it energized them a bit. Awake Canadian, hello. It energized them a bit, but now the economy is tanking. I said that. Did I not predict it, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I'm just gonna. It's self-serving, I know, but here, it's self-serving, I know. But how many times did I say since September of 2021 the stock market would crash? Thomas O'Connor, Thomas. Can you wish my son Joe O'Connor good luck with his new comic book store, Comic Culture? Yes! Yes! Thomas O'Connor! Joe, congratulations and best of luck on your new comic book store, Comic Culture. I wish I could go there and buy some comic books. I love comic books. I'm old school. I'm old school X-Men, Avengers, I mean, Alpha Flight, old school. Batman, Superman. I'm mainly Marvel. I was mainly a Marvel person, but DC with Batman and Superman. Thomas O'Connor, Joe O'Connor, and Comic Culture. God bless you. Best of luck. Best of luck. And congratulations. Joe at Comic Culture. Best of luck and congratulations. Really amazing. One day I'd like to open up a comic book store. That'd be amazing. Um, Kenneth! Kenneth Vickerin! Kenneth, thank you so much, Kenneth! Greatly, greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, Kenneth, I don't know if you or Thomas heard, I don't know, basically yesterday, all of YouTube, content creators, Kenneth and Thomas and everybody here, from the US to India to countries in Africa, everyone around the world that had a YouTube channel for about 10 hours couldn't make money on the platform. There was some kind of bug. The monetization was removed on almost everyone's page. It was unbelievable. Kim McGuire! Kim, thank you! Thank you so very much, Kim. Greatly appreciated. Kim, thank you as always for your kindness and support. Greatly appreciated, Kim. I hope you're having a great evening. Kenneth, Thomas, Kim. Kenneth, thank you again. Very, very kind of you. Very kind of you, Kenneth. Thomas O'Connor, Joe O'Connor. Best of luck with Comic Culture. I love comic books. Kenneth and Kim, I love I see the thing is, there is on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Joe O'Connor and Comic Culture, definitely go there and buy your comic books. There are some wonderful, wonderful YouTube videos of Jack Kirby, who was one of the great comic book innovators, and he created a whole bunch of great characters. But you can actually hear him speak. Jack Kirby, of course, there's Stan Lee, who is the icon legend, but Jack Kirby is also, along with Stan Lee, really, really, really amazing. And you can hear him on YouTube talk about his experiences in World War II, his experiences in New York in the 30s and 40s. Jack Kirby created the Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. And I did a whole bunch. Professor X. I believe he also Galactus, Silver Surfer. So along with Stan Lee, he created a whole bunch of characters. I think he was also instrumental in the X-Men also. Um, but yeah. So anyway, Jack Kirby, look him up. He is one of the icons, one of the true icons and legends of comic books. Really, is part of Americana. Kim, Thomas, and Kenneth. Thank you so very much, Kenneth, and thank you, Kim and Thomas. Best of luck. Congratulations. You must be very, very proud. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. New comic book store, Joe O'Connor, just opened up. Comic Culture. So awesome. Actually, there's I used to ride my bike in the late 80s and early 90s. I used to ride my bike to a comic book store not far from where I lived. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And this is self-serving, but it's a poll, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to my super chat. Thank you. It's a poll. How many times did I say since September of 2021 the stock market would crash? Let's see, 100, 200 to 300 times, or over 300 times. You tell me, ladies and gentlemen. You tell me how many times did I tell the entire planet the stock market would crash? How many times did I tell the entire planet since September of 2021? Yes. It's self-serving, but I gotta do it. Kenneth, thank you so much. Tim, thank you so much. Thomas, thank you so much. Eric, I don't think I did. After the mid 90s, actually, I wasn't that into that. I didn't really like buy religiously comics, but I was really into the X-Men, the Avengers, um, X-Men, Avengers, Wolverine. There were others too that I was into. Kenneth, thank you again. Yeah, I know. If Trump is speaking, I can understand why people want to definitely go. It's pretty amazing that he's campaigning now in Nevada. Laxalt is up. Kenneth, thank you again. I appreciate everything. Thank you. Laxalt is up by 2 points. By 2 points, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. Over 20 times. I mean, over 300 times. Let's get a couple more votes, and I'll end the poll, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that's really amazing. I think that's really amazing. A comic book store is a beautiful thing. A very beautiful thing. That's right. So let's go ahead and definitely look up Jack Kirby, ladies and gentlemen. Really amazing man. And along with Stan Lee, did a lot of great things. Really, really, really great things for the world of comics. And then we're finding out that, there are a lot of people that, helped create all these amazing characters that you don't really know really quickly. Like, a lot of people, because it's a collaborative process, um, sometimes, the person, there'll be one person that is credited. So the Bob Kane created Batman, but Bill Finger also did as well. So he's a co-creator of Batman. Bill Finger, American comic book writer. So Bob Kane, for years and years, was believed to be the only person. He obviously was extremely, very instrumental, and the person who did create Batman, along with the co-creator Bill Finger. So you don't really realize, like, Jack Kirby probably created a lot more characters than he's credited with, just because it is a collaborative process. But anyway, Kim and Kenneth and Thomas, thank you so very, very much. So 4 points. Laxalt is up by 2.1 points, ladies and gentlemen. So Laxalt is up by 2.1 points. Okay? He's going to win. Because people in Nevada, they're actually a lot smarter, especially people in Vegas. They're a lot more savvy in terms of politics than the average American, I would say. People in Vegas and people in Nevada. Sir Felix, hello. Mario, hello. Um, I would say that, people in Vegas and the rest of Nevada know that if they don't have a good economy, people are going to suffer. I don't think that there are a lot of voters that don't care. Um, there's a lot of voters that don't care about, Eric, I'll do that. There's a lot of voters that don't care about the economy for some reason. Those people are Democratic voters. They just vote based on the belief that Democrats will save the planet as they pump $180 million into strategic petroleum reserves. So, I mean, you talk about they're going after Herschel Walker. And by the way, it hasn't really given that much of a boost. Warnock is only up by 4 points in the latest poll. And having released, this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably the most important part of this live stream. And it took me 16 minutes to get in. These people are they're the epitome of hypocrites. Democrats, when it comes to climate and other issues, are the epitome of hypocrisy. They talk about saving the planet. Where in this discussion about climate and an emergency and how everyone has to drive an EV, does it say that, I mean, where did AOC in her Green New Deal that everyone laughed at, where did it say release 160 million barrels of crude oil since March of 2022? March, April, May, June, July, August, September, about 7 months. He flooded the country because his policies failed. He had to backtrack and he had to address his failed policies. First, he went after oil and gas because he wanted to save the planet. Then he realized, oops, oil prices are too high. Then he said, oh, well, nobody will really pay attention in the Democratic Party. Like, Democratic voters don't really pay attention to this because when it's a Democrat in office, they just go on cruise control mentally and they don't really care. So, like, all the horrible atrocities taking place in the southern geographic region of our country, with human beings desperately trying to come to the country because Democrats have done away with any concept of laws regarding, keeping the country safe and also the people who want to come here safe. You have more people losing their lives trying to come into this country now because of Democratic policies. AOC doesn't care. You also have 160 million barrels of oil. 160 million barrels of oil. Okay? And thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. So, thanks for the poll, everybody. And so, you have 160 million. I don't even know if I'm explaining the absolute hypocrisy well enough, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I'm doing a good enough job. The total number is close to 200 million barrels of oil, and we are selling oil to even geopolitical adversaries. We're selling oil to China as they decide whether or not to possibly invade Taiwan. That's the foreign policy. That's why it was a foreign policy imperative. It was a moral imperative to vote for Trump. Look at what's taking place in Europe now. Look at what's taking place in the economy, in the US economy, with food shortages and food prices and inflation, 8 to 9%. Real wages down 4.4 to 8%, depending on the calculation. 4.4 to 8%, depending on your calculation, people are losing from their paycheck. And this is democracy? This is democracy? Trump having an opinion on any topic has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with democracy. Because then they make this, oh, well, if nobody accepts, and then they didn't even accept for 2 seconds. They didn't accept for 2 seconds Trump as their president. Not even 2 seconds, not even a second. The day of his inaugural, Madonna said something that she wanted to do to the White House that I can't even repeat on YouTube. Okay? I can't even repeat it. So these people are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. If you, what scientist or what consensus? What consensus says you can pump 160 million barrels of oil in 7 months and get to carbon neutrality or become carbon neutral or lower the temperature of the earth? How on earth is this part of the Paris Climate Agreement? I mean, you couldn't. I mean, they say that, oh, Herschel Walker, the Daily Beast story. It's like, well, the Daily Beast should run a story on the 180 to 200 million barrels of oil that Biden pumped into the economy because his policies failed initially. He backtracked on all of his policies. First, he said he was going to go after the oil and gas companies. Then they sued him. Then environmental groups sued him because he went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He banned leasing on federal lands. Then he reversed the ban a year later after he was sued by oil and gas associations. And within the lawsuits, they said, your policies are going to cause oil and gas to increase in price and the economy to suffer greatly. Then the economy suffered greatly. When oil and gas went up in price, inflation went up. About 30 to 40% of the inflation calculation is energy costs. Okay? When energy goes up, food prices go up. Diesel prices go up. When diesel prices go up, everything from strawberries to milk to eggs go up. To cereal, everything goes up. And then, I mean, you can look right here, what a 180 million barrel release. This is, I mean, Republicans should be talking about this. They should be talking about how Democrats reacted to Trump initially and for the remainder duration of his presidency. Did they accept Trump? No. But Republicans, like, they don't really, the Republican Party doesn't really, they don't understand how Democrats think. If you can approve that they're not morally superior, which takes a second, you've gained votes. I mean, they really should simply talk about all the things that Democrats have done that are contrary to their stated objectives or goals or ambitions. Ricardo, thank you. They should talk about 180 million barrels. And do not ever don't ever debate Thomas, Kenneth, Kim, Anatia. Don't ever debate any morally superior, highly educated Democrat. They will turn into the little monster in Lord of the Rings. Precious, precious. They will turn into a raging maniac. You'll see this visceral reaction when you provide them with evidence, data, facts, reality of their rampant hypocrisy. It's too much. It'll be too much for them. They can't possibly accept the cognitive dissonance will be too much. And so 180 million barrel oil release. When you have 180 million barrels of oil released, you are artificially reducing the price of oil in the US. In the US. You might not be making a dent in the global market, but in the US. Dow Jones is going to continue to tank people. Then you're going to have a Bernie Madoff Lehman Brothers moment. How many people do you think are running Ponzi schemes? How about a bunch? How many hedge funds do you think are going under? In a couple of weeks to months, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see a terrible, terrible, terrible crash like a 2008 moment, because you've given free money to gamblers at the casino for 2+ years. Now they're going to have to pay up. They're not even using the house's money anymore. So what happens when you're not even using the house's money and you're borrowing the college tuition money? What happens when you're borrowing the life savings? You were given the house money. How fun would it be to go to Vegas or Atlantic City, and you go to Caesar's Palace or wherever? How fun would it be to just be given $100,000 in chips? How many people would cash those chips immediately? How many people would Let me ask you a question. Here, this is a question. Okay? Would you cash immediately? Okay, so all right. This is a great question, people. And honestly, I might actually play with maybe a couple grand of it, maybe more. But I would cash out most of it. Would you cash out immediately if you were given 100 grand in chips for free? Because that's the smart thing, people. Okay? If you'd say that, like me, you'd play with some of it, that's not the smart thing. Because you would, but see, again, that voice in your head says, what's $5,000? I could possibly win another 100 grand with that 5 grand. And then you lose the 5 grand, and you say, well, I'm just going to take another 5 grand. I still have 90 grand. And then, you could win back the 5 grand and get to 100, or you could win $200,000 with that 5 grand. Then you're down to 90 grand. Then with the 90 grand, you're saying, look, five more $1,000 and that's it. 85 grand. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you. So 30, I would actually probably take a couple grand out, but I would hope that I wouldn't take more than 5 or 10. Okay? There are people out there, ladies and gentlemen, who would take 20 or 30 grand out. Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone who would take $30,000 Thomas, Kenneth, Kim, do you know anyone who would take, if they were given $100,000? Anatia, everyone here, do you know if you know a person, a type of individual that would take out 40,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 of the 100,000 and gamble with it? Because that's called the stock market and hedge funds and mutual funds and pension accounts. Actually, mainly hedge funds. These people were given the house money. Okay? They were given the house money. And now they don't have that money. Interest rates are going up. The economy's tanking. Now suddenly, instead of 100,000, GT 500, hello. And now instead of 100,000, they have 50,000. And then next week, instead of 50,000, they'll have 20,000. So that's the stock market. That's what took place. That's what took place. That's why everything's going to tank, people. That's why everything is going to tank. You have a situation where they're not playing with the house money anymore. They're not playing with $10 trillion in the Federal Reserve and fiscal stimulus. Because they got trillions in stimulus payments from Congress and trillions. Companies, corporations took out loans in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Or at least tens of billions of dollars. And now you don't have that anymore. I mean, what we did was a self-induced wound. It was a self-induced wound, okay? And now you don't have that anymore because the market is tanking. So imagine now if the House says, "Oh, give us back 30 grand of the 100 we gave you. And if you don't give us back 30 grand, we're actually going to sue you." Imagine how that's what's taking place in the stock market. The corporations and hedge funds got free money, and now they're going to be forced to pay up because the market's going to tank. The market's been tanking. Because when you pump $10 trillion into any economy, okay, you're going to create inflation. When you create the inflation, you're going to cause a recession. Exactly, Kim. You can't cash out. Exactly. Exactly. So you'll have 401ks declining in value. You'll have an entire economy. I mean, then you have a too big to fail moment, just like they did in the UK. You have a too big to fail moment in the UK, and you have the Bank of England, their central bank, pumping trillions into their economy again. The whole point was to prevent inflation, to stop inflation from increasing, and instead of stopping inflation, they added to more inflation by bailing out pension funds. But they put the pension funds in this situation by shutting down economic activity. Only maniacs around the world, experts, the wonderful expert consensus of experts, where any expert or authority was disparaged, demeaned, banished, excommunicated for offering logical, rational dissent. Well, I don't think this is actually a very safe. You're banished, banned, suspended. You're a loony. You should never have existed, actually, because you're going up against the consensus of smart and good people. Do you know how many people have lost their lives listening to those who would dissent against the consensus? So you have a situation where they all shut down their economies at once. They all shut down their economies at once. Indeed, hello. And then they pumped money into the economies because they wanted to replicate economic activity. And then, like a bunch of imbeciles, they didn't think inflation would be a big problem. MP, thank you. And Tammy, hello. And then they had all of these stupid policies implemented by power hungry, maniacal politicians. People lost their lives in facilities, elderly care facilities. They couldn't even say goodbye to their family, their children, their loved ones, because people like Andrew Cuomo wouldn't let them, because the protocols were that you couldn't even say goodbye. You couldn't enter. Oh my God. Mark Smith! AJ Goodman! Hello, Mark. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a great evening, sir. Mark Smith, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciated. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough. Mark, Kim, Kenneth, Thomas, Anatya, and Joe O'Connor. Congratulations again on Comic Culture. Best of luck. I'm sure it's an awesome, amazing comic book store. Comic Culture is an awesome, amazing comic book store. Go there to buy your comics. Um, Mark Smith, thank you so very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated. And then just think of the lot, like people like you couldn't even visit a family. You couldn't even visit family members at elderly care facilities because even if you like, they're like, oh, you could still have it. You could still have it. Like perfectly healthy people couldn't say goodbye to their loved ones. I mean, you have this is you when you have hysteria masquerading as compassion. I mean, the moral compass of Democrats is just like a spinning clock. They just go with whatever they feel. Actually, see, it's self-serving. To be to always try to be moral without actually being moral is the basis of democratic politics. They're always yelling and screeching and screaming, and if you don't listen to us, horrible things will happen. And then we listen to them, and the worst possible things take place. Then they keep saying, if you don't listen to us, horrible things will happen. You're immoral. You're immoral. Oh, what's this? 180 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves, you hypocrites. Oh, what's this? An invasion in Europe, you hypocrites. Then they spun that until thank God Trump isn't in power. It's like, what? What? You totaled the car? You bought a brand new Lamborghini and you totaled it, and then you said, well, thank goodness, the driver who has a pristine record didn't take this car. Like, no, you just totaled it. Trump had a fantastic economy. Fact. You can't even. We had record highs in household median income and a record low in poverty. And the record high in household median income was without $10 trillion pumped into the economy. Mark Smith, thank you again. Indy, thank you. Exactly, Kevin. Exactly. Prices of goods and services are rising. Okay. Not only because they shut down the economy, but it's it's more difficult to do business because energy prices are high. And when they pumped trillions into the economy without actually really producing any long-term economic growth, it was a big problem for everyone. Here you have Warnock leads Herschel Walker after allegations. Okay. He's only leading by 3 points. And why is there always a libertarian? Okay. You're not. If you're a libertarian, you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything from it's. It would be different. Like if you were a Green Party voter, you actually benefit in a way from the Republican winning because then Democrats eventually, a million years from now, maybe, but probably not, will realize they have to become. They have to adopt Green Party policies, which they really haven't at all. So that's like the calculus there. With libertarians, if the Republican loses, you are going to get the antithesis. You will never get a more libertarian party because the Republican loses. You're actually going to get far more of everything you dislike. Central banks pumping trillions into the economy. More government control of everything. I mean, you're getting literally opposite. Like when I voted for Bernie Sanders knowing Trump would win, or predicting Trump would defeat Clinton, I knew that I would get an anti-war foreign policy. So I was fine with Trump. And it turned out to be right. Trump was a fantastic president in every way. The media meltdown accusing him of everything under the sun, that's their problem. He didn't work with the Kremlin, which is like the dumbest thing in the world. There's no evidence at all anyway. But here it's like, you get these, like, I don't understand libertarians who run. It's like, what are you doing other than being an operative of the Democratic Party? What on earth are you doing? So here, Warnock 47, and that's with all. You have to understand, Herschel Walker has 44%. Herschel Walker has 44%. Warnock has 47%. That's with everything going the Democratic Party's way in terms of media. Now imagine even CNN is saying the Fed doesn't have a choice anymore. Get ready for a recession. Well, we're already ready. We're already in a recession. We're already in a recession. We had 2 quarters of negative growth. It's a recession. Everyone knows this. Of course, when Democrats are in power, they just have to redefine everything. If they don't redefine if they're not able to redefine everything possible, then they can't. Alexander, hello. Robbie, hello. JJ, hello. Hydrojet, hello. JJ, congratulations. Congratulations. Wonderful. A lot of great things happening today. Congratulations, JJ. Awesome. So we're in a recession, and Republicans have a 4-point lead in the polls. They should have a 14-point lead, but you have everybody from Jimmy Kimmel to late night talk show host, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, and it's like you're going to get investigations endlessly because you'll have Trump Republicans. You won't have the good Republican like Paul Ryan. What a good Republican Paul Ryan is. He's a good Republican. You won't have the good Republicans. And so, um, I don't get, like, I'm telling you, I don't understand how they do it. I don't get, like, why would you vote for the Democratic Party in 2022 in midterms if you stumble upon this? Oh, the Republicans are extreme. Well, what are they extreme about? Well, they don't accept the sanctity. Who cares? What does that have to do with your pocketbook? Democracy, we have to accept. You didn't accept Trump. Oh, that's different. That was the government. Well, so what? Because the government's like when I grew up, the prevailing mentality among adults and everyone else when I was in school was that don't trust the government. When did people start revering the government? I don't understand that. Well, you get a lot of things. Well, I pay taxes. We pay taxes, yeah. So what's your point? Set like 3 hello. When did people start to revere and trust and honor? I don't know, like they when like the reverence when they talk about Kremlin interference. That's the most hilarious thing. The Kremlin interfered in 2016. How do you know? There's been a bipartisan Senate confirmation. Well, that's based on the assessment from. They confirmed an assessment. The Senate panel confirmed an intelligence community assessment, and it wasn't even a community. It was 3 of the intel agencies. The assessment had high to moderate confidence on all of its dumb claims. So if I say H.A. Goodman says that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Oh, and it's been confirmed by a Republican Senate panel. Does that mean that Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time? Well, maybe you might say LeBron James. You might say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You might say Wilt Chamberlain. You might say Bill Russell. Okay? And so there's no way to prove an assessment or an opinion that is subjective. Nobody can, like, they came up with the dumbest excuse for losing. And people bought it up, and I still think he worked with the Kremlin. Really? The tens of billions of dollars in National Security Agency and everything else, Central Intelligence, and they couldn't find out the truth. You think just maybe it was a gigantic lie that people just ate up because they couldn't stand looking into the mirror and say, wow, we lost to Trump. Wow. Wow. And he's coming back, baby. Let me tell you, he's coming back. He is coming back. And the amount of negative publicity on Hunter and Joe impeachment, that's going to pave the way for Trump. That's going to pave them. Then they're going, oh, democracy. You don't know anything about democracy, Democrats. You don't even have a functioning primary, my God almighty. I mean, spare us the nonsense. You have these people who are like, it's basically the equivalent of a vegan eating a cheeseburger and washing it down with bacon-infused milkshake. It's like, you don't really have the right to talk. You're the biggest bunch of hypocrites who've ever lived on this planet. On every pick a topic on every topic. Poverty, you have literally increased poverty. Set like 3 gaming. The left learned taking over the government will give them power to implement their exactly. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Exactly. I agree with you. They have loyalists, but the thing is, the interesting part is that the loyalists within the government are like, we're saving the government, we're saving democracy. Like you're actually devoting your life to a political party. You're not saving democracy. Derek, hello. Set like three, exactly. So they're like, oh, democracy. Like I bring up Bill Maher. He's very intelligent. He's a fantastic comedian, but he's just clueless when it comes to politics. They asked him, "Well, would you ever vote for Ben Shapiro? Would you ever vote for?" He said, "No, no, climate emergency and also democracy." What? You flooded 180 to 200 million barrels of oil. I don't think they care about climate. I think it's one of their many issues they just pretend to care about. And democracy, Democrats did not even for 1 second, not even for 1 second, um, accepted Trump, but democracy still flourished. I mean, you have people like Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan, all these people, they really did the country a disservice by plunging us into this partisan nightmare. They knew that Trump didn't collude with the Kremlin. They knew this. They knew this. I mean, you'd have to be pretty stupid to believe that. They knew that it was just a way to get half the electorate to believe that they didn't really lose. That they interfered with Facebook ads or the DNC. How was the DNC hack a plot by another country to undermine democracy? They cheated Bernie Sanders. I mean, you heard it again. It will never be a time where they cheated Bernie Sanders. How on earth is that like how does anyone come to the conclusion that the Kremlin wanted to interfere by showing us that they were cheating Bernie Sanders? What kind of convoluted nonsense is that? Hello. Tajani, hello. So when I mean this, like the lead up this October is going to be next week, ladies and gentlemen. I know nobody cares. Now everyone's going to start falling asleep. The Durham probe is next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, people. Sleeping. Everyone's sleeping. Everyone fell asleep. All 160 people fell asleep. It's like hypnosis. If I say one word that'll make you fall asleep, the Durham probe. Like, I mean, I swear to God, nobody cares. I don't know why nobody cares. I don't know why. Barbie, hello. Barbie, you are fantastic. Barbie Jimenez Mujica, you are fantastic. Thank you. I hope you have a great weekend and a great week. Thank you for all the kind words always on this channel. I mean, nobody cares about the Durham probe, but it's a huge, huge thing. There's a huge thing coming up. And it's this coming Tuesday. So, son of a World War II vet. Durham probe. Disease. Allied, hello. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I will try to do an upload actually later on this evening. Have a great, great evening, everybody. Check out the upload in about a couple of hours. Everybody, thank you so very much. Anatia, Thomas, Kenneth, Kim, Mark, Setlick3, thank you so very, very much, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow for the live stream. Um, we do have the Durham probe on Tuesdays. That's like a pretty big deal. Anyway, give me your thoughts. I'll be back with a live stream soon. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks, everybody. I'll speak to you soon. Check the